Hi, I'm Paul. I'm with Pathway Design and Construction, and going to be sharing with you a little bit today about a project that we did. That was a second story addition for my brother and his family. So, can you confirm for me that you're able to see my screen? Just give me a okay or something like that. I want to make sure. I've been having problems screen sharing this morning, so. Great, thank you, appreciate it. All right, so as I mentioned, this was a second story addition that we did for my brother and his family. And there's a little quote that he gave. So when you have a growing family, a neighborhood you love, and a competitive real estate market, this remodel was a great way to update and get the space that we wanted and needed. Ultimately, the growing family piece is really what kind of tipped the scales for them and needing to decide what they wanted to do with their home. So whether it was purchase a new home or add square footage to the existing house. My youngest niece was on the way and they were out of room. So it was time for them to make a decision one way or the other. This is the family. My three nieces and my brother Mike and his wife Lindsay in their new kitchen space. So just a FYI, this session is being recorded. If you use the chat and you do not want to share, please use the chat if you don't want to share your voice or images. Please help us hear one another and mute yourselves if you aren't speaking, and if the room is crowded, which it is not, you can use the chat to ask me questions, or feel free to kind of chime in as well with you can unmute yourself and I'll be happy to answer questions along the way. So a little bit about Pathway Design and Construction. Please disregard my typo here. I keep forgetting I need to fix that. So Pathway Design and Construction is a Seattle-based full-service award-winning remodeling company that creates highly aesthetic, functional, and custom livable spaces via smart design, energy efficiency, or energy-efficient products and practices. Your Pathway remodel is built to last. We use thoughtful building practices and highly durable products to help ensure that our clients enjoy their remodel for years to come. We specialize in flexible design approaches such as universal design, better living design, or even aging in place, with focuses on solutions that accommodate homeowners' changing needs through all stages of their life. So really what we want to do when we look at our projects, so whether you have a 6-month-old or say a 90-year-old parent living with you, and then anybody in between, how do we really make this home something for everyone to live in as they continue to grow and age in the house. So we really want to try to make the space functional for everyone. And that also leads to even people that come to visit. So whether it's a grandparent or family, another family member or a friend, maybe they're in a wheelchair, or they have some other disability. We've had clients really want to try to make sure that they're welcome in their home as well and try to implement some things that can make their home better and more enjoyable for everyone. Excellent custom design is at the heart of every great remodel. Beauty, safety, convenience, and comfort each have a role in a Pathway remodel project, whether it's a new spaces kitchen or a seamless addition onto the house. So in this case, we did a seamless addition, at least we hope it's seamless. So the before pictures of the house. So this is a photo of the kitchen, standing almost in the backyard, looking through the kitchen into the front entry door here. And you'll notice it's closed off from the dining space. Take note of some of the cabinetry you see here as well. I'll be talking about that a little bit later as we get into some of the slides. This is a view from the dining room area, looking into the kitchen space here, and then a view from the dining room into the living room. There's a little bit of a walkway here, or a little bit of an opening that creates a walkway between the two rooms, but still a little bit closed off and defined, very similar to most homes of this age that haven't had a lot of remodels done to them. Notice the arch opening as well that we have here. Let's see, this is a view from the living room, in this case, looking back into the dining room, and then here looking at the fireplace wall. The idea with this remodel is really to keep some of the charm intact that was currently in the house. So we did that by keeping the fireplace and chimney on the interior of the house, really looking aesthetically like it hadn't been changed, as well as keeping all the bookcases and stuff on either side of the fireplace. Let's see, notice the wood flooring here. So this is a oak flooring that was throughout the house. We actually ended up having it salvaged by reuse as they were able to come in and salvage it and then take it back to their store and provide it to others who might need it. When they were demoing this, what we found is the oak flooring was not actually the first flooring in the house. It was added at some point in the past. Underneath that was a fir floor, and then underneath that is the shiplap. So there are actually two floors that we found during the course of this remodel. So as I mentioned, new baby was on the way. So the primary goal for the second story addition was to create more space. The family wanted to open up the main floor while retaining the classic character of the home. They also wanted to incorporate healthy construction practices by using low maintenance finishes and low and no VOC materials. So some of the challenges that we ran into, so really the existing structure of the house and whether it was going to support the second story addition was something that we had to take into account. And how do we do that without completely tearing the house apart, because that's just going to add to our timeline of the project. So in this case, we were able to separate the floor system of the new second story addition from the ceiling of the existing living space on the main floor. And as well as we did have to add a few shear walls, but the idea was really how do we try to minimize, say, the impact on that main floor, which was rather hard in trying to get some of what we were trying to include in this project. Energy efficiency was really important. We wanted to make sure that we stayed within budget, but provided heating solutions that worked. So this is the house now. This is a view standing from the front door. If you remember, I mentioned the larger opening from the dining room to the living room. We did keep that somewhat and kept the arch opening here. Don't have a great picture of the full arch, but the idea was that we widened this opening and really connected the living room and the dining kitchen space now to the house. We installed engineered floors, pre-finished engineered floors. That was a way for us to help speed up the installation of the flooring, and it was an economical choice as well. You'll notice up above these windows here, this is a ductless mini split system. This was installed several years ago in the home prior to this remodel ever happening, when they remodeled the basement space, and it provided the heat for the main floor, which there was a bedroom back in this corner There's a bathroom, still is a bathroom over here, and then the contained kitchen space that used to be here, as well as what is now the dining room. So I remember the day that we pulled this wall apart and really opened up the space looking into the backyard, and I couldn't believe what a difference it made just walking through that front door and how this house felt. It felt so much larger than it ever did before. Let's see. So yeah, so we opened up the main floor, created an open kitchen concept and dining room. Pre-finished oak floors were used, and then cork flooring is what we used upstairs as well. So this is the family again here using their kitchen. You'll notice some of the cabinetry here. So I pointed that out, the existing cabinetry in the previous kitchen. So most of the cabinetry in here is salvage from that existing kitchen, and it had been added onto, I'd say probably a couple times over the years, with the idea that everything kind of looked the same. So how do we try to save on budget and really try to incorporate some of the needs of the family into the project? So really reusing cabinetry was a big part of that, as kitchen remodels are usually one of the more expensive projects that we do. You'll see the different drawer sizes here. So this, I would say that this was probably a piece that was purchased for this particular remodel, but some of these other pieces were reused throughout. So there's a kind of a plethora of different types of cabinetry, but the idea is that it all looks the same, and you don't really notice it unless you're really trying to scrutinize what everything looks like, door styles, that kind of thing. But everything was hand painted on site in order to make it all come together. So we use quartz countertops as a low maintenance option, durable product. Let's see, what else do I want to point out here? All right, we'll go to the next slide. So another picture of the kitchen. You'll notice this is an unfinished cabinet here. So this was a piece that was purchased for this particular remodel. And like I said, this is my brother's remodel. My brother's actually our production manager as well. So yeah, just kind of finishing some of the pieces as needed over time. But this was one of the pieces that wasn't super important for them to be able to move into the house and start using it. You'll notice here over the stairs, there's a door, and this is a little storage area. This is kind of dead space that was over the stairs that go down to the basement, which run through the back here. And so it's just a way to capture a little bit of additional storage in the house, as some of these smaller homes typically don't have a lot of storage within them. So just some pictures of some lighting that we have here. You'll notice in these photos, there's not a lot of can lighting within the space. And the idea with that is that we tried to minimize the use of cans as far as its effect on the budget. So the idea was one fixture, and we could provide ample lighting for the space. So we were surprised and excited to find that a taller, narrower refrigerator works and looks better on the kitchen, where the cabinets were also repurposed. So yeah, so that was, this is our refrigerator here. Refrigerators are one of the hardest appliances to fit in kitchens. So it's usually when we're designing a space, that's one of the first things that we look at, is where can we get a fridge, and everything kind of builds around that. In this case, this allowed us a little bit more flexibility and opportunity to take advantage of some of the spaces. This is a Liebherr refrigerator, and it's not quite as deep. It's counter depth. It's not quite as wide. It is taller. We've installed several of these over the years, had good feedback from homeowners that they've liked them, and they work good in the space. So let's see the next. This is, yeah, another picture of the kitchen. All right, so this is the pantry that kind of goes underneath the stairs here. One of the cool things about this is this door was the salvaged fir floors that I mentioned earlier. So my brother fabricated this door out of the leftover fir from the demolition, and was able to reuse it in the house, which is pretty cool. This is upstairs. So now we're at the top of the stairs at the landing area. We were able to get 3 bedrooms and two bathrooms upstairs. So what we sacrificed 1 bedroom, which was down in at the bottom of the stairs area, and gained 2 additional bedrooms in the house as a result. So this is a ERV. So it's a spot ERV. What this does is helps us introduce fresh air and exhaust air from the house. So allows us just air transfers within the home, which is pretty cool. Up here in this area, we don't have a great picture of it to present today, but there is a ductless, ducted mini split head up here, and we put that in the attic space. And what we did with that, then we used ductwork from that unit to go to all the bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs. It's a great alternative from a budget standpoint to not have to put a separate head in each room. Let's see, and then we have attic stairs that go up here as well. And the attic stairs allow for easy maintenance. One of the other pieces of this, now that I'm talking about the attic, is we used attic storage trusses on this house. So what that did is allow us to have a little bit more storage upstairs. So it's a deeper truss to allow for insulation to still go in, and then it's open in the middle, which allows us to add storage, put boxes and whatever up there. So it's a way just to tap into some typically unused space. I talked a little bit about the ducted mini split system. Wool insulation was also used. So I mentioned that the second story of this addition was framed on top of the ceiling of the main floor. And we filled that cavity with wool insulation. One of the nice things about wool insulation is that it is a good sound deadening product. Let's see. So this talks a little bit about marmoleum. This isn't marmoleum in this picture, but this is our cork flooring, which is tying into our hardwood treads here. This is the girls' bedroom, and found a nice bunk bed that fits great in this space. Allows these rooms to be a little bit more open, and it's good use of the space. You'll see up here in the ceiling this supply vent. This is for the ducted mini split system. And this is my youngest niece's bedroom. So she's the one who got her own bedroom out of this, and I think she by far is probably the most expensive child that they've had so far. So, but this is her nursery room. One of the things that we really wanted to pay attention to on this project was introducing of chemicals, reducing the introduction of chemicals into any of the products that we were using. So using low VOC paints, as well as the type of flooring that we chose, as well as insulation. So I mentioned wool insulation a little earlier. Wool has some great properties that allow it to clean VOCs out of the air. So it's just another way for us to continue to keep the air fresh within the home and uncontaminated. So this is the girls' bathroom. You know, we were on a tight budget on this project and trying to pull all these pieces together, and as well as timeline wise. But the idea with this is that we were able to create an aesthetically pleasing bathroom with some rather simple materials, by also using some accent pieces just to create some interest on the walls. This is marmoleum on the floor. This is kind of a traditional look for a marmoleum floor. Excuse me. Yeah, we use porcelain tiles, porcelain and ceramic tiles. Low maintenance grout was also used. So I really like this product. It's a urethane based product. And what it does is it allows the grout to be a little bit more flexible than, say, a cement-based product. Typically with a cement-based product, as the house wants to move over the course of time, we'll start seeing cracks in the grout lines, which then can potentially lead to water intrusion into the walls. So the idea with a urethane grout is it's going to have a lot more flexibility. So as the house moves, so will that grout, and it will minimize any potential future cracking containment issues that we might run into, as well as from a cleaning standpoint, it's super easy to clean. There's no maintenance with sealing it over the course of time. It's install it and forget it kind of products. So typically with a cement-based grout, you're going to want to seal it every 6 months to a year, and that typically doesn't get done. So this is a way just to make the project or the home a little bit safer and cleaner. So this is the master bedroom. You'll notice the cathedral ceiling in here. These were the types of trusses that we chose, allowed a lot more open space in the bedroom, made the bedroom feel a lot bigger than it actually is. So see, there's some storage space above here. This is over the master bedroom closet. It's just a way to access a little bit of maybe unused space or some space that might not have been unused, or to add some just interest. I think eventually maybe they'll put some doors or something up here to hide stuff if they need the space. The windows, you'll see these are Anderson 100 windows is what we use. They're energy efficiency wise, they're a great window. You can paint them if you want. They're not quite as efficient as, say, a fiberglass window, but they're going to be cost-wise more in line with, say, a vinyl window. So we added windows on the front of the house, and then there's windows over here on the side of the house as well, and it really floods this room with a lot of light. This is marmoleum that they used in this bathroom as well. This is, I guess, one of their newer kind of style looks, but it's interesting. It's not your traditional look. So yeah, just some photos of the cabinetry in the master bathroom here. You'll notice again some of the return air or the supply grill in the ceiling for the ducted mini split system. So on the exterior of the house, we wanted to make sure that we used products that were going to minimize the amount of maintenance that was going to be needed over the years, and you'll see why here in a second. So, whoops. The house is rather tall now, and there's not a lot of room between property lines. So having to get up here and paint and do other maintenance is not the ideal situation. So we used LP product that will hold up paint a lot better. I really like it because it minimizes the expansion and contraction of the product over time. We see a lot of expansion and contraction with cement-based products, and they tend to want to crack. So this again is a low maintenance product. We used cedar trim around windows and up in the gables and stuff. Those were painted on or sealed on all 6 sides prior to installation. So the idea again is just minimizing maintenance over time, but also using a natural product. The front decking, this was all salvaged from the existing deck. It was just reused and cleaned up. So you'll notice, so we have shingle siding above, and this is not quite the original siding, but it was, I guess, the second iteration of siding. So this is asbestos siding that's over the top of some cedar lap siding underneath that. The idea with this project was really to, how can we try to get the two to work together without having to completely reside the entire house? Because again, we're on a budget and trying to incorporate two different types of siding in the home, and as well as having to just abate the siding as well adds a cost to the project. So as long as we don't touch it, it's not an issue. In this case, we minimized any work that we had to do with the asbestos siding. Yeah, so and then we just did lap siding on the back. So we added a little bit of interest with the LP shingle siding on the front, and then LP lap siding on the sides. And you'll notice these 2x4s kind of sticking up in the air here. Really wanted to try to minimize the intrusion on the neighbor because these property lines are so close together on this side of the house. So we ended up putting up a screen that divided the two projects from each other, or the two homes from each other. So any nails or wood debris or whatever that might have gone into the neighbor's property was hopefully stopped by this screening that we had installed. And on this side of the house, you'll notice that we have the chimney here, and it kind of stops right at the second story addition. So the fireplace on the interior of the house is no longer usable as a fireplace, but we really wanted to keep the aesthetic value of it. So it's been plugged, and we now just have a chimney that's on the exterior, but it serves no purpose anymore. Down below here, so these are give the look of carriage doors. So carriage doors themselves can be actually rather expensive. This is a way for us to create a similar look. We used just some standard doors that are a little bit wider than a typical, say, 3-foot door, but created that carriage door look for some storage space here down in what used to be the garage. So the rain garden, as part of this project, you really wanted to try to make a connection between the house and the backyard, because there wasn't that connection before. So created a rain garden in the back. Seattle's RainWise program is what they used. It's a great program if you're not familiar with it, but it paid for the entire backyard to be redone. You'll see this PVC piping running along here in some of these photos, and this goes into the rain garden area in the back. So yeah, so here's that same PVC. You'll see it tying into the downspouts here, and then again just running into the ground in the back. They used to have rain barrels on the side of their house. Rain barrels can be, a maintenance issue, just making sure that they're not overflowing, and potentially when they do, they leak water into the basement. So this is a much better alternative to try to keep water away from the house, but then also reintroduce it back into the ground. Well, if you have more interest in this project, this was fully documented through a series of YouTube videos. Like I said, this is my brother's remodel, and he goes through and he talks about why they chose different products and why they were kind of doing different parts of the construction process the way it was done. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that, but you can find it. Let's see, you mentioned storage attic trusses earlier. Is it easy to retrofit current attic trusses to be able? No, not quite as easy. It all depends on where those loads are coming down on the walls, and how the trusses were built. So no, it's not quite as easy to retrofit. So some of our sponsors, just thank you to the sponsors of the Green Home Tour. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and I can try to answer them.
Curiosity question about working with marmoleum. I
Yep.
used it and my contractor complained and said it was so difficult to install because it cracked and it was going into a long, narrow space. Have you had problems installing marmoleum?
Um, no, yes and no. I mean, we've run into problems, but we use it. We use it a lot. So I really like the product. And where we've seen issues is just sometimes when you cut it, it does tend to want to crack or rip. But when I've gone back and looked at those projects over the years, the products held up really well. And I think for the most part, very seldom do we ever have that issue. It's more if maybe intricate details of where we're trying to have a lot of cuts or something on a piece.
I agree with you. I like the product and we're considering using it again.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't deter you.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed seeing this presentation.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much for attending. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat, or you can also reach us through our website at pathwaydc.com. So thank
Thanks.
you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.